Starting now.
And we're
And greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bobby Hawk.
And I'm Elizabeth Placencia.
And I'm Tony Hooper.
Tony Hooper, it's been so long since we've seen you. You know this whole driving thing is quite easy when you're actually trying to hit something. We also talk about ABC's hit series Once Upon a Time. I did not read that leading the lead this week before I said it, so that was pretty funny. Whoever wrote that.
Me. Zelina said it.
Well, okay, yeah, you didn't actually write it, but you know it was a nice pull there, Liz. How you doing this week?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Unfortunately, the stream from last week, or the audio, the recording from last week, did not go too well. Lost the YouTube. Then I thought I had the trusty backup, and the audio was not there. So another lost episode, unfortunately. But it's not lost. We haven't seen it for weeks, it seems. Tony.
Yes.
Did you get lost in some portal or something? Or?
I did. I had to jump so many rooms. You know what I mean? Like, I think for a while, I think I was in Neverland for a second. And then I had to jump to Camelot.
What? Get out of Camelot.
Let me tell you, they don't call it the Broken Kingdom for anything because we still don't know if the queen knows that her husband is dead. But hey. I finally come back to our world, but to record with you guys.
It is great to see you. I'm glad you can make it this week, Tony. I'm glad you found all the magic beans you had to. And who needs a magic bean anymore to open a portal? To be honest,
it's so easy. It could be anything. It is terrible. It used to be so genuinely hard to actually find a magic bean, but now it's the easiest thing in the world to find anything magical.
Exactly. Speaking of magical, Liz, why don't you hit us up with this week's magical rhyme?
The tale of the Black Fairy is one we haven't heard. Is she evil or is she good? The lines are certainly getting blurred. Rumple's dream world reveals oh so much, as we learn his mother was mortal once. Gideon and Emma help Rumple uncover that his mother did always love him, so we discover. Rumple's destiny was to be the savior? Yet the shears of destiny cut that off, not doing anyone any favors. The Black Fairy became who she was to protect her son, a great evil that cannot be undone. Not everything is coming up merry in this week's episode, The Black Fairy.
The Black Fairy. Okay, and not to get too spoiler, but what did you guys think of this week's episode?
Can I go first?
Please go ahead.
I loved it. Like all these weeks, I've been dreading this episode. I've been knowing it was coming, and then I watched it, and I'm like, "What's going on? I'm enjoying this. What the heck?" Like, I actually enjoyed this episode, and I was hater-rating all over it before, but it's getting aired.
It's very nice to hear. What about you, Tony?
I love this episode as well. I thought it was very well thought out and very, very, very exciting. So I'm very excited to talk about it while I'm here in this room.
Yeah, before another portal comes and sucks you off somewhere else. Sucks you up to where Oz maybe this time.
Oh, you know what? I would not mind.
Got a Kingdom Hearts from the background.
I know, Gotta pay homage to the Disney characters,
All right. As far as I'm concerned, I was definitely looking forward to this episode, and I think over the last few weeks, that's all I've been talking about is looking forward to this episode. And maybe it was that I was so excited for the episode and wanting to know what happened. In all honesty, I feel a little bit let down.
What?
We're gonna get into it.
we can never have all three of us, completely love the episode. It can't be 3 for 3.
We're never in agreement. But you know what? It's a good thing we're never in agreement, because then there's more to talk about.
Right, exactly. And I'm not gonna say I hated the episode. I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna say I felt let down, and we'll leave it there for now and get right into it. It was kind of broke up into maybe 3 story parts here, and of course you got like your flashback and then your parallel to whatever's going on, and then your C story. And so let's start off with the flashback. Fiona becoming the Black Fairy. This is the story I've been waiting for. And this is why I've been waiting for this episode. So I want to know why, everything. Why why.
Who, what, when, where.
Right. I was totally expecting her to just be a fairy. Like my question to begin with before this episode was like, how did Malcolm meet and fall in love with a fairy? Well, but we find out that she wasn't a fairy. She's just a regular person.
I mean, I think it's very exciting. But what I was just saying is that I think it's very exciting. I mean, we know what it takes to be a dark one. We know what it takes to be a savior. But at least we get to figure out what it makes to be a fairy, I guess.
Thank you for prefacing that with somewhat, because one of the points here is that how
does one become a fairy?
Just all of a sudden she read a bunch of books, and Tiger Lily even says no mere mortal can do what a fairy do, or can do what a fairy can do, except for make a human a fairy, because Tiger Lily seemed pretty surprised by that. She was like, oh my god, that's impossible.
But I want to say I thought it made sense that she was human before she became a fairy, because I don't know, but I don't think fairies can have babies. So it kind of made sense that she was human first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and also by any means, I mean, it just seems like someone of great power is able to blow out, a light source, like how they're able to blow out candles, and you can tell that a newborn is going to be, powerful. I mean, it all is kind of
speaking of the whole candles, can I bring up my point about that right now?
Yeah, please do, because I
Yeah, because so the candles flicker on and off when Rumple is born, and that also happened in the hospital when Henry was born. Not candles, but electricity. And I was listening to another podcast, and they were like, well, it didn't happen when Emma was born. And my reasoning for that is, well, because it was daylight.
if anything, yeah.
Did we see
it was daylight when Emma's birth was
definitely
silent, and it was completely daytime when Emma was born. So of course no lights were flickering when she was born. But I feel like every time that does happen, it's like a great power being welcomed into the world, and that's what that represents.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there wasn't. I think when Henry was born, all the prison lights blew out or whatever, right?
Sweet, that's what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, okay, of course, Emma does have great power, but I don't really think that it was, explained or any type of situation going on, because she didn't know she had magic. I mean, but of course, it still would have been nice for her to actually have her little light flickering moment, I guess.
But Rumple and Henry weren't born knowing they had magic. They didn't find out until later.
This is true. This is definitely true.
Well, technically Rumple. Okay, we can't get into that yet. So never mind.
There's so many things to talk about.
No, there is, and maybe that's another reason that maybe I would have believed Fiona's transfer. I don't know what's the words I'm looking for.
Transformation, really?
Maybe. Okay, yes. Transformation, that's probably the exact word I was looking for. Thank you, Tony. See, what were we doing? What would we have done without you? But seriously, Fiona's transformation into fairy, if there had been an episode or 2 or maybe even 3 to see that progression of her, instead of just 30-second, like, oh, I've read a bunch of books and now I can turn into a fairy.
Right. I mean, well, they don't call it fairy lore for nothing. So
I don't know. So like you said, there was definitely a lot going on in this episode, and like I said, maybe that's why I felt let down, is that they didn't really have time to explain a lot of what was going on in this episode. Like, for instance, why does she never name the baby?
This is true.
Did they ever say in the episode that there's like some sort of thing where, like, like, because like with Rumple especially, like, names are important, like him knowing Emma's name.
Maybe this is why names are important to him.
But what definitely. But what I'm saying is we're never really given a reason why she never named it can't just be like, oh, I was distracted from trying, because I was trying to save him. I mean,
I thought it was just because maybe at that very moment when, after you have a baby, you kind of think and search for them, or maybe if you had a name in mind before the baby's birth.
Most people do.
In the moment, just didn't think about it. Like, oh, well, I just brought my child into the world. Now I got to think about how to save it.
Yeah, most people have a name picked out, or at least a few picked out and like I said, it could have easily been explained by some sort of, they had no problem with any other exposition in this episode, so they could have easily just been like, oh, well, XYZ, we can't give him a name because if we give him a name, he'll be easy to find, something along those lines. But like, it's just never even mentioned. I feel like
maybe it was like a conversation off screen.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it almost feels like maybe it was a deleted scene.
How old was Rumple when his dad finally gave him a name? Because it was like, how much time has passed? Because she was reading all those books about fairy lore and her son's destiny, and it's like, how old was he that she didn't give him a name?
He was definitely still an infant, but I would imagine that he had to have been a number of weeks, maybe even 2 months.
I mean, it wouldn't be like at least a whole year or two going by.
Oh no, it wasn't saying that.
Yeah, it was, but even still, a month or two is a long time to not give a child a name, and so there had to have been a reason for her to not do so, but we were never given a reason.
There's something deliberately off screen.
That's not the only plot hole here. That is not the only plot hole here.
No, well,
there's always 1 or 2 plot holes in a episode. We've come to to get used to that, and to finding some explanation. Unfortunately, yes. So.
Yeah. But as far as Fiona is concerned, I definitely got shades of like Cora from her in this episode.
How so?
Particularly a few of the things she said. When she said, it's amazing how this little thing makes you soft and sharp at the same time. I forget who it was. I believe she was talking to Tiger Lily when she said that.
Yeah, she was.
And then there was another moment too later in the episode. When she was talking to Rumple at the end of the episode, and they were discussing how she treated Gideon. And she was like, what I did made him strong.
Definitely.
There were definitely shades of Cora in there.
When you think about it, I mean, the Black Fairy acted like this first. I mean, thinking about the timeline, Rumple is much older than Cora and Regina put together when you really think about it.
Which makes Rumple's affection for Cora a little creepy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's a lot of there's a lot of that in this show, I mean, of how we figured out that, well, not how we figured out, but how we know when Mila came into the picture back in the underworld saying, "So you've been with my former lover and my son?"
Oh yeah.
I love that line. Yeah. That was awesome.
It's always nice when the characters on the show point out things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird and awkward, and guess what? It's okay. It's a great show. Why not?
We also were debating before what color the fairy would turn out to be. The black, before she was the black fairy. What color was she? And I believe we had settled on purple. No, go ahead, Tony.
Oh no, I mean like as of what as of which fairy, Fiona?
Yeah, like we I believe maybe it was just me and Liz, but we were trying to I believe you were like you've been gone for so long in Neverland and wherever else. I can't remember what part of if you were part of the discussion or not.
I don't believe so, but do tell.
But anyway, yeah, we were discussing over what color fairy she was, and I believe we did settle on purple. But then, of course, when it turns out that she's the gold fairy here, it's like, of course, she's the gold fairy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, of course, everything ties back into everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, from the get-go, she was never a good fairy.
I don't know about that. Why do you say that?
Because she's always, I mean, it was always about manipulating Tiger Lily into doing whatever she needed to do to save Rumple.
But how does that make her? I don't see how she was manipulating Tiger Lily. Although when she was like, well, will you hold him? I mean, obviously that was manipulating.
That was manipulation.
No,
I mean, like it just turns out that she was a good person in the beginning, but after being greeted by two fairies saying, "Hey, your son is destined to become something great," and now also he's destined, to be destroyed by darkness. So of course, I guess circumstances would arise that
I wonder if it would have made a difference if they were like, your son's destined to die. It's going to be in 400 years.
Mm-hmm.
But
right, it's in 400 years.
He's gonna live a long happy life. It's not gonna be like tomorrow.
I don't know if we'd call it happy, but okay.
Well,
no, but
we don't know that before his fate was
sealed. Exactly. I mean, like I see where you're going with this. Like, I think that if they said, okay, hey, so you have this son, he is destined for greatness, and he's going to live a long, happy life. He's going to live a long, happy life. We
all die.
Okay.
Hey, we all die. I'm going to die.
I'm going to die. You're going to die. Eventually, but, I mean, like, he's going to live a long, good, very life. He's probably going to outlive you and everything like that. But he is kind of destined to die, by some type of force. But it doesn't happen for years, so you don't have to worry about it. So, if they would have said that, then everything would have been fine. But, hey, destiny.
But yeah, anyway, that's kind of what I was. Where my mind went. It's like, we're all gonna die. I don't understand what he's pretty old.
Mm-hmm, yeah, he's pretty old. I mean,
yeah. Even I mean, Emma, she's like 30.
I don't know. You know what? I have lost track of how many years it's been. I mean,
she might be 32. I guess maybe she was 28 when the show started. We're 6 years in. But didn't we lose a year somewhere, something like that?
We lost a year in the 3rd season, and she never probably celebrated her birthday. You know what? I don't really think that birthdays even really are celebrated in Storybrooke, to be honest with you. Like, I've never seen a birthday for Emma happen even once in Storybrooke, so we don't know how many years it could have been.
That's very
She's
true.
in her 30s. Let's say that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that is this week's once tangent.
Yes.
moving on to this week's proceedings. Okay. So she's like willing to rip every other child in this realm from their family in order to save Rumple.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fairy says, right? That like it's not only going to send the evil child away, it's going to send every child away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I kind of hate how everything that the Black Fairy does like mirrors exactly what Rumple, and Rumple even points it out. I mean, it's like literally like exactly what Rumple did.
Well, where do you think he got the inspiration from?
Well, he didn't.
He didn't know, of course, but still, where do you think he got his inspiration from?
Like mother, like son.
Exactly.
And then, like, okay, something occurred to me in the shower earlier.
Okay.
All right, you know what? Something occurred to me in the shower. I think what I'm going to do to find my son, I'm going to rip everybody else.
No. Serious. I'm talking about me. Something occurred to me in the shower earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we were going along with this joke. I mean,
no. I was thinking about the Black Fairy and the Dark Curse, and it's like, okay, so this is the Dark Curse that Rumple found, and and everything else, and it's like, wait a second. In order for Regina to enact the Dark Curse, she had to kill the thing she loved most. That's why Rumple had Regina cast the curse in the first place. So if Fiona was trying to cast the curse, wouldn't she have had to like kill Rumple?
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, no, wait.
We didn't get that far in the episode with that discussion.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
No, because,
it's just like like I didn't want it. I didn't write it in my notes, and I didn't want it to leave.
No, but that we should also talk about. But I don't know if we can talk about that so soon. But yes, I agree with that because, well, to be honest with you, then she would have two loves. She would have two people to choose from.
Malcolm, or her baby. But I mean, it's obvious in just the way she, in what the extent she goes to defend, and protect Rumple, or you know what? I'm gonna call him Bairn.
Bairn?
Yeah, no, Bairn, because that is the song she keeps singing throughout the episode. She says, what was it? What is it she says? It's so stuck in my head. Something about searching for sweet baby Bairn. And never seen sweet baby again.
Kind of sad song.
Yeah, and like I kept like searching for it to see if it was from somewhere, and I couldn't find any.
I'm gonna search for it right quick, and then we can see what the lyrics are. So I'll just do that.
I forgot where my train of thought was now. I keep doing that tonight. Everything she did, I mean, is exactly like Rumple did. I just felt like no empathy. What's odd is like I have felt it for Rumple. I feel like I've always been the one that has like so many people have talked about how they're tired of Rumple switching, and they're and good, bad, is he, and
yeah, but it's okay that you've defended Rumple whenever you've done it, because it's been 6 years of him. We haven't had 6 years of her.
No, but at the same time, though, I totally empathize with Malcolm.
Now,
yeah. I mean, now we know why his actual reason as to giving up Rumple.
Right, and becoming Peter Pan and everything else. And I had a feeling that was more than likely the what happened. But the way it played out, the few scenes we had with the actor that played Malcolm in this episode, I believe it was the same actor from the other episode.
I think,
But I'm just saying that the few scenes that we got with him in this episode, like, are probably some of the favorite scenes of this episode for me. Specifically, of course, the scene at the end when he names Rumpelstiltskin. That is like,
I have something to say about that.
I'm not defending what he did. I'm not saying it was cool or a great character trait. I know it was wrong, but I totally understand where it was coming from.
Definitely. I mean, it's just a hard, touchy subject, just for this situation. I mean, at least we now know.
like he said, I mean, this was the love of his life, and like here comes this thing that he barely knows now. Like, and now not does he not only know it, but like for these 2 months until the fairies brought him to him, like Fiona just disappeared with this baby. So like not only is the love of his life gone, he hasn't been bonding with
with the baby
child,
to care about
right.
him or anything.
And then all of a sudden, these fairies come out of nowhere and being like, "Oh, by the way, your baby's dead, and here, or your wife is dead, and here's your baby back."
Yeah, it's so terrible, but it's so true. But then again, I don't think that they have to say that, oh well, she's gone, and now all you have here is your baby boy. So hey, it'll be okay. Your wife is gone, but here's your baby. I mean, yeah.
I'm surprised.
And he said like his name when he's naming him Rumpelstiltskin. It's with such malice.
Yes,
and when I heard it, it didn't even seem like he was making up the name. Like he had heard it before somewhere, and he thought it was a revolting name, and that's why he decided to name his son that. Like it didn't even seem like he made it up. Because I've never heard any other kid named Rumpelstiltskin before. Have you?
No.
No, I sure haven't.
I can see where you're coming from, but then at the same time, it's like Rumpelstiltskin is almost just like a mashup of like Rumple, there's nothing good about there's
nothing good about it.
Like Rumple is definitely not like a good sounding I don't know. I mean,
sounding strong name, like strong and honest name.
But I could definitely see where you're coming from. That it didn't sound like he was just putting sounds together. It sounded like he, like you said, it didn't sound like he just pulled that out of thin air. Yeah. It sounded like he did hear that from somewhere before. But like you said, not only have we never heard of anyone named that, I mean, in all of literature, there's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not a name, someone has taken on. So that is, that is an interesting point.
I mean, well, I just looked up the meaning of Rumpelstiltskin, and really it's not even what you would think of, because basically parents would actually give names to their children based off of meanings,
right.
But it doesn't even look like it would even be something that would, he would be thinking about at all.
Just out of curiosity, what did you find?
So the name Rumpelstiltskin in German means literally a little rattle stilt.
A little rattle what?
Stilt.
Stilt?
Yes. A stilt being a post or a pole that provides support for a structure. I don't know if he was going for that same meaning.
No, that's weird. That's like a noun. That's not even a. That's like a thing. That's like calling your kids. That's like calling your kid stove.
Stove. Stove. Yes, I'm gonna name my child.
Or like someone naming their kid Apple.
That's just weird.
Someone did name a celebrity named their child Apple.
I know.
Why? I mean, no, but literally, it's saying the name Rumpelstiltskin is German, means literally little rattle stilt, and I'm like, wait a minute, provide support for a structure. So far, the Rumpelstiltskin that we know has been causing nothing but chaos.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't provide support for anything. That's for sure.
No.
But Rumple got to learn the secret of the Black Fairy this week. And all of that, I have like very few notes for this because and that's what bothers me is because like this is what I was looking forward to is like the whole Black Fairy backstory and everything, and it's like there was just really nothing there. The few notes I do have here is that I don't know if Belle and Rumple are necessarily back together, but they are definitely working as a unit to protect Gideon. And in doing so, it certainly seems as if Belle is willing to compromise, just as Rumple and Fiona before her you know, and I'm starting to be concerned that maybe she's going down the same path.
Well, to actually see, to actually talk about that, actually, I think that it really just depends on their relationship as the way how it's going. I think it depends on if Rumple was able to save the child from darkness. I think that's basically on how that question is to be answered about how their relationship is going to go afterwards.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about the relationship. I'm talking about the extent to which Belle is willing to go to protect Gideon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's pretty much safe at the moment.
At the moment now, but I'm just saying, even in this episode, she's, you know, that moment where Rumple says, "Do you trust me, Belle? I need you to trust me." And then he puts, you know, Emma into a sleeping curse with him.
Mm-hmm.
Or not sleeping curse, but you know what I mean. You know,
I think just to sleep.
They go to the dream world.
Yeah. Sends her off to Dreamland. But any, you know, even
because the dream world actually exists.
Even she says, "So what? You're kidnapping me now?" But like, and Belle was complacent in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she didn't even seem to bat an eye at that. You know,
I mean, after being a part of, go ahead.
It was the word she used. You know, he said, "Do you trust me?" And she said, "I trust that you'll do whatever you need to protect our son."
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it's like she's starting to she's starting to see, you know, where Rumple, you know, may have some valid points in what it takes to protect, you know, your loved ones.
Mm-hmm, definitely, it definitely takes some dark turns to, you know, to save somebody. You know, it's not as easy as it is for heroes to be like, okay, well, to save my loved one, I'm going to do this heroic deed. No, to save your loved ones and you're the dark one, you have to take some dark turns.
Well, just like in the opening of the episode when Rumple opens that egg or whatever, and they're like, "Really, you're gonna kill a baby dragon in order to wake him up or wake her up?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "That's the thing about saviors. You're never willing." I forget exactly what it is he says, but basically along the lines of what you just said, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, like, to be honest with you, I think Emma was a little bit judgmental this episode. I mean, okay, look, you've been down the dark road now, so you have no more room, no more reason to judge somebody now. You know, you saved Hook from a certain death, kind of, you know, to become a dark one. So you have no more time to judge.
She's got no room to talk.
Right, she has no room to talk. You've now taken a dark turn, which you know, with her being kind of mean and judgmental this episode too. That's probably like one thing that I didn't like about the episode. Her being so judgmental, and you know, and it's like, wow, okay, so now with you being brought down to the dark side for a moment, you've taken your dark turns. Now he can't continue to take his to save his family. Like, what is that?
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, what Rumple learns is that he was the one that was supposed to be the savior.
Mm-hmm. Oh God!
Oh my God. I was like, what the damn hell? He was supposed to be the savior. I'm sorry, I cussed, but I don't care. I was so shocked. I was so shocked when that came out. I was like, what?
Yes, it was very shocking. I mean, like, I was right there with you. Not literally, but I was right there with you in spirit, like screaming at my screen, like, wait a minute, hold on, explain.
And they don't really.
And they don't explain it, which ticks me off. It's a terrible plot hole in this episode, because it's like, well, how does the savior? I understand she cuts the shears of destiny. He's no longer the savior. That I get. It's how does that go from Rumple to Emma, like hundreds of years later? Like, I understand when he's an adult, he learns the future and everything he does for Bay. I get all that. What I don't understand is how it went exactly to Emma. Like, because they don't explain that.
Well, wait a minute. This is where I talked about off screen between me and you. We're going to have this little small debate because I have a
Let's do
point
it. Let's
right
do
after
it.
you. So, with your permission, Bobby, I would like to go on with the point that I have afterwards.
Go right
He's
ahead.
all sitting back in his chair.
Right. He said, "Go ahead." Okay. So basically,
Bring it.
to put your point into perspective, about them not explaining it right now and as to what it means. I did some cross referencing, and this is what I found. So, Rumple being the savior was made a long time ago. Of course, this brings that to the light that he was the savior a long time ago from a prophecy. He indeed had great power. So, but however, Fiona, she only created the dark curse. She never casted it.
Right.
She got the last ingredient, but it was taken away from her from the blue fairy. So she never casted that curse. She was then banished to a dark realm by the blue fairy. Now, Blue possibly hid the curse, because her and Tiger Lily were the last people to actually see the curse. So, and then Rumple found the curse, that's when he came up with the Queens of Darknesses, Maleficent, Ursula, and Cruella, and help in retrieving the curse.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then he actually attached Snow and Charming's locks of their hairs. And they actually produced Emma, which is the product of their true love. That's how actually it got shifted from him to her. Is because she was the key into actually breaking the curse and to actually being, quote unquote, the savior. And that's just my theory on it. Like with crossing between so many curses and things like that. Of course, he might have been a savior in that moment to whatever he was to be the savior for, but she was the savior of actually breaking the curse over Storybrooke. That's how I think that the role of savior shifted from him to her.
But are you saying that he was originally supposed to break this curse, or was it entirely different?
He was probably the one that was going to be the one to actually break his mother's curse had she casted it. She didn't actually get to cast that curse. Okay, so he is grown. He has the destiny to grow to be the actual savior. So, but then that means that there was going to be a curse as to what she was going to cast all the children from their parents or everybody or in that specific land or whatever that she was going to cast the curse over, so her son can be saved. But that didn't happen. It's because Blue stopped her and banished her to a dark realm where she cannot get out of.
Yeah, Belle even said, or maybe it was Tiger Lily, that this savior was destined to save all the children.
And that was
Keep
from
all
that
the children
specific
safe.
curse.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess like you said, with this specific curse, that Rumple would have been like, if she had gone through with the curse and his fate hadn't been severed, then he would have had to defeat his mother in order to return all the children to the
exactly.
realms.
That's just the point that I was trying to get at.
Another thing that they don't explain, and I'm not going to debate you, Tony, because I think I agree with you. So it's not much of a debate. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you make excellent points, so there's nothing for me to say. But the other plot hole for me in this episode was that they did not explain why the Blue Fairy steals children. Because what I originally thought earlier in the episode was, oh, okay, she's taking the children, so she's trying to, figure out who's going to hurt her son. But then it turns out she's the villain. So then she goes on in the future to continue to take children. Why is that? That's not explained. Or maybe I didn't see the explanation.
She has the children working in her minds.
For what reason?
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. They never really get into exactly what's going on in those minds. I guess it's that, just like Rumple, that, while she's there, she's continuously trying to find a way to return to our realm, to return to Rumple.
I think it was from that point, perspective, Bobby. I mean, from actually trying to actually get to Rumble, because then think about it, she's in the mines in Storybrooke. Maybe that was the same reason why she had the children.
But I just don't understand. I'm not seeing the correlation as to, okay, I understand that she's abducting children to work in her mines. So she's obviously mining for something. And whatever she's mining for is going to be part of what's ever going to enable her to come here. What exactly was it that did enable her to come here? It was something Gideon did, right?
Yes, he opened up the actual doorway from that realm to our realm.
I thought the doorway was just for the spider.
Okay, well, basically, what I'm thinking is that, okay, they had said that, okay, the spider came from my mother or something like that, because I think it did actually come from there, because that's how it was actually able to go back into the realm, and it was open enough for the Black Fairy to step through. So I'm thinking that they probably kind of did a trade, trade action.
For some reason, I just can't remember the specific moment when the Black Fairy entered our realm. But
it had to be after the spider left, though.
Yeah, but so basically you're saying the that doorway, or with the tears of the Savior and whatever other things they had there to anyway. Okay, so yeah, so like that makes even less sense then why was she searching for these babies all these time to mine in her realm, which when ultimately she never even was she just searching for Gideon the whole time?
That could be it, but then again, also you gotta. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it sucks that we have to sit here and wonder right.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe after all, maybe they could have been doing the same thing as they were doing with back in Neverland. Peter Pan looking for Henry at the time, or somebody with the heart of the truest believer, maybe.
Right. There's plenty of things they could have done, but they didn't. And like I said, I just feel like there's a whole episode or two worth of story here that would like be able to tie things together a bit more. And instead, we're just kind of left with this jumbled mess of like this happened and that happened and this happened and that happened, with no real rhyme or reason as to why.
It could be.
But I guess another part of the story this week that wasn't too confusing was everyone just trying to get together and stop the Black Fairy from I don't know, protect Emma in the final battle so they can go on with the wedding. Where were the Charmings in the beginning of this episode? When they all were like had a little powwow around the Blue Fairy, and then
they didn't explain that.
That's
they
what
never
I'm
explained
saying.
That either.
Like how did I understand Gideon and Black Fairy had taken their place, but how did they take their place? Where were the Charmings at that time? Like none of that made any sense whatsoever. There wasn't even a scene where like later they went and found them tied up at their house or anything. Nothing. Because then like the next scene, it was just like Snow at the clock tower saying, Blue said that the things at the center of town, the wands at the center of town. And I'm thinking like
how did you know that? You weren't there.
It's time to put on your mayor pants.
Right. And I'm sure people told her. I'm not, it's not like it's impossible if she would have known that, but it was just like all of a sudden the next scene just made it seem like that last one didn't even happen.
Exactly. Or they were still maybe impersonating them. Like, okay, hey, it's time to put on your mayor pants. Really? Would Snow ever say something like that to Regina? Maybe.
Yeah,
she
would. Yeah, I think she would. But yeah, I just found it odd that they just kind of like didn't even mention as to like where Snow and Charming were when that happened, or how any of that. Once again, another thing that just kind of
Either that, or they're just going to stick it in the deleted scene feature.
But what
Like, I don't know.
What I did love though was the little side plot of like Regina and Zelina. I hated that Regina didn't trust Zelina, in the past, because I always felt, like I've said, that Regina should have been like the one person who always had Zelina's back, because she's been there and knows what it's like to be in those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was really cool to see Regina trust, put her trust in her sister as to raising Henry and whatnot, or how she put it, I trust Henry to raise you.
Sarcastic.
But I love the Wicked Wagon. What was that, like an old AMC Gremlin or something?
I don't know, but I thought it was ugly.
It had character.
Yes, it definitely had character in it.
It was an ugly car, but it fit her because it was green, and her favorite color is green. So right. I understood it.
I'm going to officially dub it the Wicked Wagon.
Yes.
Ooh, cool.
I think that should actually be the
hashtag the Wicked Wagon.
Yeah, hashtag Wicked Wagon.
That and the scale. How many wicked wagons?
Speaking of the Wicked Wagon, I usually see the old car coming out of nowhere gag coming from a mile away, but I definitely didn't see this one coming. It's like Chekhov's car. If you introduce a car in the first act, you must hit an evil fairy with it in the third act.
Yes, sir. And oh my god, it was so funny.
It was so funny.
It came out of nowhere. Like, I was literally like just yelling at the screen, like, "Oh my god, why?"
Yeah, I did not see that coming whatsoever.
She hit her like a rag doll. She flew 10 feet in the air. She flew 10 feet in the air. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
And she just took off.
Like, no, I ain't hurt. I ain't
suffering
no concussion. I'm good. I'm not bleeding. Like, you just got hit by a car. Are you okay?
You good? You good? You're good. Okay, all right.
You good? You good? It's cool. Okay, cool.
Moving on now.
Disappear. It just disappeared. I was like, okay, wow. Like, so you getting hit by a car didn't happen. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Right. But they did finally find the wand, of course, and it turns out that the heart of Storybrooke is right under the jukebox, which is rather fitting, seeing as we've got the musical coming next week.
I still want to know, how long has it been there? Why hasn't it been, like, I actually wanted to write that point in, but how long has that been there? Why now is it being mentioned?
I'm sure it's been there since
for
30 years or however long Storybrooke has been there.
20 years. I think.
Yeah, I thought it was funny how Charmy was like jukebox, and then Hope was like jukebox.
Jukebox.
Like, their bromance was like right there.
Oh. I mean, hey, you gotta have some type of relationship with a woman of the father, father-in-law. You gotta have something.
And really, that's all I had to bring up for this week's episode. There are a few questions I'm left with, but before I bring up my questions, are there any points you guys wanted to bring up that I hadn't touched upon yet?
I just wanted to say that, like, the whole scene with Rumple coming to Granny saying, "Oh yeah, this is the Black Fairy's heart." First off, there's no way the final battle would happen off camera. There's no way.
Right.
So when I'm watching that scene, I'm like, you freaking little liar. Like, I knew he was lying. There was no way that was the honest truth. So when that scene happened later, I was like, okay, yeah.
What do you think that was?
It didn't look like much of a heart, to be honest.
It really didn't. Well, I mean, to be honest with you,
it was a black and charcoal piece of
black and charcoal. Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, somebody who's as evil as a black fairy, of course, their heart would be made of nothing but darkness.
Blackness.
Right. So I'm wondering, was it someone's heart? It's not the
I don't
black.
know.
Either that or just a piece of something. I mean, they again they have this recurring trouble. They never explain what it is. He just take it for his word.
The only thing that makes me wonder is because I believe there was a scene at the very, very end between Rumple and Black Fairy again, where she said something along the lines of like she called it a heart as well. Now again, maybe that's just because that's what they're saying it is, but it almost seemed as if she, like I said, it seemed as if it was a heart, just not her heart. But I mean, there's a whole vault of hearts, in the town, so there's no telling. Like for a second, I was almost wondering if it was Rumple's heart. But then,
could have really gone that dark that quickly.
Yeah, especially right now, I don't see Rumple's in a more gray area, so I don't see his heart. Like that thing was like
pitch black.
Like maybe when he was the dark one, his heart may have looked like that, but.
Well, yeah. We kind of know what his what his heart actually kind of looked like a little while ago before he got his fresh start. It was almost black. You could see some pink in there still, but it was overwhelmingly dark. So, but as of him getting his fresh start last season, I don't think it had time to actually go from whatever color it was to completely black that quickly. I mean, you have to kill like thousands of those poor villagers in the kingdom.
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
I know, but I'm serious. You had to do some evil acts within a 1 year span, to be that black, to have that black of a heart. It's terrible.
Side note that just came to me when you were speaking of having to be evil. Regina sure got us a weird twinkle in her eye when she was saying and I never got to kill a fairy.
Yeah, that was funny.
She never did. Oh my god.
Still, it just seemed odd that she would seem so gleeful in having the opportunity to do so.
Oh God! I mean, hey, well, you got to think about it. She accepted who she was, within the last half and everything, and there's still some darkness in there, some dark sensations, and that she can periodically tap into every once in a while. So,
did either of you want to touch any more on Malcolm and how he feels about Rumple before we finish the discussion?
I did have one more point, but of course it's something that once always does leaves us wondering.
What's that?
Because I don't know if they'll mention it or ever. How did Tiger Lily lose her wings?
Oh yeah, but I forgot that you had that point there. Again, you're right. They did never mention it. And just following context, I would say that she either because of the events of what happened, didn't Tink lost her wings as well, right?
Yeah, Tink lost her wings for defying the Blue Fairy.
And
Gina's happiness, but maybe Tiger Lily gave up becoming a fairy. Maybe, who knows?
It was one of two things. I think that either Blue, took them from her and banished her to Neverland, just like Tink. Maybe that's a thing. Like when a fairy does bad, their wings are taken and they're banished to Neverland. Either that, or I would say that the other option would be that maybe Tiger Lily herself,
maybe she clipped her wings.
Yeah, clipped her wings. Thank you. That's just because of what happened, and then banished herself to Neverland.
We'll never know.
Yeah, I would say it's probably one of those two options, but like you said, we'll never know because another thing they didn't really explain in this episode, and that's why I felt let down. And maybe I'm expecting too much, Maybe maybe that's just too much story to try to fit into 45 minutes of a show. You know, maybe they needed a whole three episode arc to really do this justice.
Yeah, call it the mini Black Fairy arc.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like it could have been fleshed out a bit better.
I'm pretty sure we'll find out next week because that's how it always seems to have been. You know,
next week is the musical episode, and then we got the 2-part finale.
Well, maybe they'll explain it in the finale, but I mean, there's still a smaller bit of time. But
I think we'll probably we might get a little bit of something in the finale as far as Rumple and Black Fairy are concerned. But I think for the majority of her backstory, I think we've been told, you know, we're not gonna. I think that's probably the last we'll see of Tiger Lily.
Because she just only came in flash.
Tiger Lily for the final battle. I think we might.
That's possible. She might. That's possible. That is possible.
Yeah. So what are we calling this? The what if section? Or maybe
thoughts from the shower.
Thoughts from the shower segment.
Nice. So the questions I'm left with this week then is that why is Rumple now working with the Black Fairy? We're never given that scene.
Because he wants to bond with his mommy.
I'm sure there's more to it than that, though.
It's either that or he's just going to act like the ultimate anti-hero.
There's always, as far as that family's concerned, even I think Rumple or the Black Fairy point out in this episode, there's always more, you know, to the story. There's not, you know, like even if Rumple is like, okay, I believe the scene when Rumple pulls Gideon and Belle aside and says, I need you guys to trust me that no matter what I do to protect you guys.
Yeah, which is a big thing, you know, to say, because basically that's just him saying, so I'm going to do something.
But that makes me wonder, though, like I kind of almost feel like he's putting one over on the Black Fairy as well. But I don't know what his game plan is, though.
Rumple always has a game plan, no matter
obviously,
what the situation
yes.
is.
So I feel like he's still out for his own, but I also feel like that he's not necessarily 100% on the Black Fairy side.
I hope not.
I really hope not either, because, you know, for him to actually have a shot with his family, he has to do the right thing.
And then
otherwise his intentions will be masked by the bad thing.
Right, yeah. They always, you know, you're always going to be judged by your last deed. Or last big deed, at least. And then I guess the last question I'm left with this week is, do you think the musical episode is going to be cheesy bad or cheesy good?
I don't know. I've seen a couple of videos, and I think it's going to be okay, but I'm going to cringe every moment. I promise you.
No. I haven't watched the clips that they've been putting up on Facebook of them singing. I've been avoiding that so that I can have it fresh eyes when I see the episode. But that being said, I saw the promo at the end of the last episode. I saw the promo for this coming episode, and I was like, I don't know. It made me nervous because I was like, I've been looking forward to this for so long, this musical episode, and I saw the promo, and I'm like, this doesn't sound good. Okay.
That's all I saw was the promo as well, and yeah, that didn't sound. I was not impressed. So yeah,
neither was I. So I'm really nervous.
I'm definitely. I'm looking forward to it with trepidation.
I've seen. Okay, I've read an article. I've seen some clips. I've seen how everybody's singing. So, and by the assumption that I think it's going to go okay, is because none of them are going to outdo each other, and like none of them are going to not be able to do what their voices can do.
I'm not so concerned about the singing as I am about the songs themselves.
No, I mean, oh god, I've seen the clip, the somewhat clip of Regina's song. It matches exactly what her attitude is these days. You know, sassy Regina, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like either way, like I said, whether it's cheesy bad or cheesy good, I'm definitely down to see
what it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's just weird that all these shows now want to go the musical route.
Like, I think it's becoming the norm. Like you're not an American TV show until you have one musical episode because it never fails.
There was a show when I was growing up called Cop Rock. Do either of you guys know of this or heard of this?
Never heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, it lasted for 13 episodes. And it was imagine NYPD Blue.
Okay.
As a musical every week.
Oh no.
Or maybe even Law and Order, because it wasn't just the cops, it was like lawyers and judges and but yeah.
What year was that?
Cop Rock. What year? Early 90s maybe. I don't remember exactly what, maybe even late 80s. I mean, it was I'm sure you can find clips on YouTube somewhere, but yeah, Cop Rock.
Here's my facial reaction to that.
It was a like I said, it was a musical version of a cop procedural show.
Wow. I mean, hey, you do have your all,
and like there was like
musical shows.
Like there would be like, okay, there would be a scene of like there'd be a defendant at a trial, lawyers debating back and forth or whatever, doing their closing arguments or whatnot, and they would sing them. And then like all of a sudden, all the people in the witness stands would all get up and start dancing. Like it would turn into a big musical number.
What? Well. Well,
Cop Rock.
Yes.
All right. So yes, cheesy bad or cheesy good. But sometimes
I really hope in the middle.
But see, that's the thing about Cop Rock, is it was so cheesy bad that it like tipped the scales over into cheesy good.
Maybe that's the reason why it only lasted 13 episodes.
All right. So anyway, this week's arbitrary scale. We don't even have anything in the thing here. I'm going to go with those weird vein. Wait. What?
I'm telling you, we should do the bad wagon one.
Yeah, but like just wicked wagons.
Yes, how many wicked wag? Okay, well, no, okay. Zelina didn't really have a significant role in this episode.
Well, there's only one wicked wagon, though. There can only be one wicked wagon.
Okay,
and you can't rate anything off one. So I'm gonna go with the veins in like the insect wings of the Black Fairy. I thought those were pretty. Yeah. Hey.
Something better. Give me something better than that.
Give you something better. Okay. This is supposed to be an arbitrary scale, guys.
I really well, okay. Well, basically, when Bill and Anne-Marie used to do it, and there were people in the chat room that say arbitrary scales, I really wish we had people in the chat room. I'm calling all you listeners that are still listening.
Well, wish you Tony. And yeah.
Okay. What about looking like?
Out of 337 stolen babies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
That is great. Let's do it.
Out of 337 stolen babies. How many stolen babies do you give this episode, Liz?
First number off the top of my head is 302.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. Like yes, that's not that bad. I mean, you said earlier in the episode that you did like this episode.
I did like this episode, but it was the plot holes and
that brought it down to 302 for you.
That brought it down, yeah.
I mean, just basically the normal gist of what it is every week now, for the most part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and see, that's what I hate, is that, and because like I said earlier in the episode, I didn't necessarily hate this episode, but there were definitely a few things that could have used a bit of polishing. Tony, what do you give this week's episode?
315 stolen babies.
Out of 315 stolen babies. None of them had the crescent mark, though.
Yeah. Wait. I'm sorry. 315 babies with 2 of them having crescent marks.
Two of them.
Two of them having crescent marks.
So even if she got rid of one, she still was going to, one of them's going to come out and get
out of nowhere,
one way or the other. Yeah.
Yes. And the only reason why there are 2 of them is because, in general, the episode was great, but I only had 2 issues with the episode. One is Emma being very judgmental about going down dark paths, and number 2 with the plot holes, the couple plot holes, just, because they're very questionable. I really want to know, how did Tiger Lily lose her? How did she lose her wings?
Right.
I want to know where were Charming and Snow in that very moment. I want to know how long this half of this wand was. How did they know where it was, and
how exactly did the Black Fairy become the Black Fairy? There's so many different ones, but you know what? We don't have much time for them to come through, but that's the reason why I give that 315. So yeah, and I'm probably gonna use that same reasoning for my score, although I'm gonna be scoring it a bit lower. Like I said, I kind of feel like I came into this episode with high expectations, because I was really looking forward to them. Let
me guess, 224.
Oh no, I'm not going to go that low. It is 200s. It is 200s. I'm going to say out of 337 stolen babies, I will give this episode 273.
Wow, that's the lowest rating there.
Yeah, like I said, I just wish they could have done more. I feel like it was just a bit too much story to try to pack into one episode. I liked quite a bit of the scenes that were there. I liked everything with Zelina.
The
little interaction between Hook and Henry was cool. Yeah, I just really wish they would have taken maybe another episode or 2 to really flesh out exactly what's going on with the backstory of the Black Fairy. The only thing I really was really pleased with was the Malcolm treatment. What they did with him and how they gave him a little bit, explained it a little bit more even as to how and why he did what he did and acted the way he acted towards Rumple.
Yeah, I think they did explain that well.
Definitely good job on that one. As bad as it is.
I do not see anything in our news, and so that's it for this week's episode. As far as the
ratings, though, I didn't write down the ratings, but it was higher this week than it has been. It was at a 0.9, and it's been waddling between a 7 and 8 for a while. So it was at a 0.9 this week.
Oh wow!
I read it. I just didn't write it down.
It did go up. That's great.
It did go up.
Yes.
Right. And obviously, there's not going to be a lot of news with the season ending, but everything I've been reading lately, especially from news, entertainment sources and shit or stuff, is that sorry. It almost sounds like Once Upon a Time is a lock to come back next season.
Let me ask you a question. I'm just gonna ask this and see what you guys say. If there is another season of Once Upon a Time, would you two want to do another season of Greetings from Storybrooke pending Bill and Anne-Marie's approval?
Yeah, if we did something like that, it would definitely. I mean, something would change. We might even have to go to a different feed.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we'd have to talk about more. Yeah, it's definitely a discussion to be had. But as of now,
I just decided to blurt it out. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Put you on the spot.
It is a discussion to be had, and it looks like we may be having it. Depending on what's going on with the show and whatnot. And like we've said in the past, I mean, if it does go on, regardless of what goes on with this feed or whatnot, I will definitely be watching. If anything, out of curiosity.
Yeah. Well, Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know. I mean, everything I've heard about it, it's interesting at the very least.
And to what's going on with the huge reset, I wonder how that's gonna play out.
Right. I mean, from the most part, it sounds like, especially like it almost seems like with the scene we had in this week, where it sounds like Zelina's probably going to take Henry and Robin off to New York, and that that kind of lends credence to what I believe I said it last week, which unfortunately was our lost episode. But there's been a lot of speculation where they've got these two actors coming in on the last episode or two. Who a lot of people have been saying that one of them will probably be Henry grown up. I'm now thinking, especially now that this thing happened with Zelina going to New York with the kids, I'm now thinking that the young girl will be Robin.
Ooh.
I think that the two actors that they have, in the last part of the episode will be, Henry and Robin. Flash forward 7 to 10 years, because they say in the description that the male actor is supposed to be in like his late 20s, early 30s. And if Henry's, say, 15 now, maybe?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
So let's say and flash forward another 10 or 15 years. And so now we see Robin as a 10 or 15-year-old girl and Henry as a 20 or 30-something-year-old man.
That's going to be something wild. I mean, because
I don't know why that will happen, but that's my theory.
Well, I mean, as of something that I've read back a while ago, is that they're only talking to a number of people for
come back, like 4 actors,
for negotiation. The Charmings are not on that list because they want to settle down for a moment. They want to, quit seeing for a moment.
They would be reoccurring, probably. I'm sure they would have a role, but what I have read is that it would be Hook, Emma, Regina and
Rumple
and Rumple. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I read as well.
So, I mean, there are a lot of things to put in for the new face, because it's definitely going to be a facelift on the show. It's a big reset.
Well, yeah, they more or less said this will be the ending of this story, and there will definitely be closure. But then hopefully you'll want to know,
what happens next.
Right, yeah, what's the next story?
The new chapter.
They said they feel like this is a show that can move on and tell different stories.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I wouldn't want this show to go so long. I mean, there is there is a show for everyone. There is a story to tell for everything. But to be honest with you, what else could you say? I mean, what else could you do?
Well, I don't know. There's really different things to say. I mean, they could always, if they wanted to. I mean, this could even be an anthology show if it wanted to be, and just have and tell different vignettes. Story arcs of different realms and different. I mean, there's so many different things it could do if it wanted to.
Right. So
I just think that if there is a 7th season, it will probably definitely be the final season, because I don't know a lot of shows that survive major shakeups.
Yeah, well, between that and the ratings and whatnot that it has been getting, yes, I definitely feel like, short of unless they come back with something that just totally wows everyone and the ratings go through the roof, then yeah, more than likely they'll be back for it. back for just one final season, if not a shortened season.
And maybe they will be up for doing like another take on the spinoff, being of the actual show, not another show like how they did with Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
I mean,
it'll still be the same characters, but a spinoff.
True. No, and another cool thing about this premise even is like even down the road, if they wanted to do like a TV movie or something along those lines, it's definitely ripe for something, like they could take a story and characters just exist in this universe and tell it.
Or bring back everyone for that matter.
Yeah, but the logistics of that would be a bit overwhelming. But I mean, you could definitely get a character or two to at the very least pop up in another story. Maybe not necessarily have them as regular characters, but you could have them come on set for a day or two and shoot a few scenes if it came to that.
Exactly.
But if you guys want to chime in on anything we've said this week, or what you think about the music, what you expect to get out of the musical episode next week, or anything. Call us, write us. No, seriously though, it's email is greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. The Twitter is @gfstorybrooke. Facebook is facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. And then of course the voicemail is 424-274-2352. That's 424-274-2352. And then if you want to hit any of us up individually, Liz, how can we hit you up on the internet?
You can hit me up on Twitter at Queen_Liz87, or on Facebook at Elizabeth Placencia. Got a picture of me on there. I look cute. Yeah.
and all those cool like bus driving videos and
your little adventures.
Yeah.
And Tony, how can people reach you on the internet?
You guys can reach me on Twitter at Hoops900, where I post a whole bunch of stuff whenever I feel like it, and I also live tweet on TV shows. So hey, come check.
Oh, what TV shows have you been live tweeting?
I live tweet on so on the ones that you guys already know. I also live tweet on The Walking Dead. I live tweet on Rain, Gotham when I get back on it. Just a few different TV shows. If you guys are interested, hit me up.
Have you seen American Gods?
Not yet.
You plan to though?
It seems interesting. I have seen something about it.
Interesting is definitely the word for it.
Definitely.
Watch the first episode. There's one scene in particular that will definitely make you like either turn you off or be like, okay, I'm totally in. And I'll just leave it at that. And definitely NSFW.
Ooh, nice.
But so that's a little bit of what I've been watching this week. But you can also hit me up or reach me on the internet on Facebook, of course, Bobby Hawk, HAWKE, and then on the internet at Inevitable Hawk, HAWKE. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this week, guys. Tony, I'm really glad that you could join us from whatever realm it was you were in last, and I'm really hoping that you get to stick around for the next few weeks, since we only got a few more weeks to go in this season.
I do too. I'm sick of realm hopping. You know what? It's not as bad as you think. I do love the realm hopping a little bit, but it's getting a little bit annoying. But
no. Your arms, your legs get tired from all that walking back and forth.
Yes.
All right, guys. So here's hoping that the musical episode is cheesy bad, or no, so cheesy bad, so cheesy bad that it is cheesy good.
I really hope so. You sound very tired. So
me?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been putting in long hours at work, and Now I'm just stalling like I do every week before I finally find the music on my phone. But here I found it, and so I think I'm finally going to close out here. So until next week, guys.
Greetings
from
from Storybrooke.
Storybrooke.